Yo, welcome to National Networking Day. We are so stoked that you are with us, that you took time out of your crazy busy schedule. You could have been anywhere in the world and you're with us today. We're stoked to have you. Thank you so much. I will be your host, Boss. I will be with you throughout the call at different times. We have a lot planned. A lot of our friends we've invited to join us to come in and talk about networking. Before the call gets going, you'll see a timer popped up right there. That's how many minutes we have left before we get started. But in the meantime, as we wait, this gives you a few minutes to kind of get going and get settled. We know that people kind of come in a little bit late. I mean, we're in youth ministry, so come on. Like, we just wanted to put a little bit of a buffer. Make sure that you like this, that you share this. This grows the reach for the call and for this live stream that is happening. And also, if you're watching, wherever you're watching from, register for this event. You can still do that. The reason why, after the live stream, there is going to be an invite-only Zoom call with our guests and with people in your region. We want you to get connected locally, so make sure to do that. And the time that we have remaining before we get started on the live stream and the rest of the team joins us, I brought a few of my friends into our podcast recently, and they have some things to share about what they've learned about networking.
Yeah, I love, and Boss, I appreciate even getting the invitation to be here and National Network's heart in all this. And it's fun. Yeah, network is in the name of your organization, but the heart that you communicated there is absolutely, I mean, it's spot on. It's kingdom. It's Jesus flavored. And so it's that heart that I think a great network has, and that's part of what I want to be a part of, and what for 19 years I've been trying to help facilitate. And
yeah, I would say that there are a lot of things vying for your attention, like responsibilities in your ministry and family stuff. And it feels sometimes like then making that extra effort of attending a networking gathering or connecting on Zoom, yet another Zoom call, feels like, oh, I just don't have time for that. Like, it just feels like time, right? Time is something we just can never get back. But gosh, every bit of time that you invest in a network, in connecting in family or in gatherings, as some of the guys on this call have already called them, building that community, it is going to bless you tenfold. It truly will. You might make a lifelong friend who understands your situation and your circumstance in a way that no one that you currently know in your sphere of influence in your life could ever see you or understand you in the way that that person could. And so, gosh, I so encourage you to just take that leap of faith and make that investment of that hour on that Zoom call for that gathering, or make that 30-minute drive to that gathering, because I guarantee you, if anything, you will meet one person that you're able to truly see yourself in, and just be able to have a person to hear you out, to make you feel like you're not going crazy some days, and to just be able to keep spurring you on toward the good works that you're doing.
It's internal and external. So we want to make or help you as a network leader have these things work out for you internally, like what's working on with inside your network, but then how are you using this in your community? I love this, because what happens is now it's saying, I get where you are. I understand your context. I understand the demographics that you're working with, and yet can immediately plug and play this. So what makes us unique is the fact that it is unique, that it's like, this is for your community. Urban is not a skin color, right? It's community. And this is specific for that community.
My buddy Chad, that we started Boosted together, says that there's like a bell curve of youth ministry humility, that we start off knowing nothing and we're welcome to hear advice from anybody. And then you hit, we'll say, years 3 through 7, where you have it all figured out and you've experienced a higher level of success, and you are willing to give advice, but spurn all wise counsel. And then after you've passed that bell curve, you're willing to hear advice again. For some folks, it's year 8. For other folks, it takes till year 18. But for the folks that are willing to hear from each other, usually a shared experience helps to fuel that. So for us, Mastermind.
Larry Acosta, who's the founder, said that we should not do ministry alone. And here's the deal. If you are the only one speaking to you, you'll be always right. And there's something wrong about that. And so that's all I've got is that, you know, you need to know, you as a youth pastor or whatever, you're always checking on others. But who's checking on you? And you need some people that are going to be like, yo, I've been there.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, boss, this has been a lot of hard work, but we're finally here, and I'm excited that you've done all this work with the podcast. That was an amazing podcast, by the way, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. There were some really, really good like nuggets of wisdom and encouragement around that room when we got together. It was really cool to watch and be a part of, having a total of 5 organizations come together and say, hey, we're going to champion each other in our own unique spaces, and we're going to bump each other up a little bit. I loved what my buddy Will said, where he talked about people coming together and really being active in their community, which is what's really the heart of this whole time for us to be together today, is to meet some people, reconnect, connect for the first time with people that are close to us. And so I'm so excited about all the people that are coming to join us today.
Yeah, totally, man. So if you don't know me, my name is Wayne Morgan, National Ministries Director. Boss is podcast host, media extraordinaire. He just gets it done. So, and it's awesome to see you guys checking in. I saw Kyle, what's up? Welcome. Kevin Miles. I saw Steve Cullum a little bit. If you're here, let us know where you're watching, because we would love to connect. Maybe you guys might be neighbors to somebody that's watching the same stream. So we think everything's here for Massive Revival. It's simply a matter of connecting the dots. And a lot of the time you're sitting in your own ministry, struggling away, and you don't know that there's somebody down the street doing the exact same thing as you and just wants to help you be successful. So boss, thanks so much for all your work here. I'm going to kick it off, and I'm going to invite the first guest on here. So
let's go. Blessings.
We'll see you in a little bit. All right. Thanks, man. Some of you guys might not realize COVID was a real difficult year to get networking going, and you might not realize that there were people that were able to do some amazing things. And so I wanted to introduce you to some people who did some creative things, who did some unique things, just to give you some encouragement along the way. So I have my friend Javin here from Southern Florida. What's up, Javin? How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you, Wayne? Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, man, it is a pleasure to have you. You obviously last year was super difficult to do ministry, but God was doing some amazing stuff in Southern Florida. Can you share just a little bit about the story of what was going on down there?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Javin. I'm from Calvary Chapel, Fort Lauderdale, here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I think back to last summer, right? And I think all of us can relate to this feeling as youth pastors in the middle of quarantine, not really knowing what to do. I mean, we're trying to figure out how Instagram Live works. We're trying to figure out like TikTok dances. I mean, you're doing everything you can possibly do just to try to get in front of students, and you felt so lost. And I think having a network of other youth pastors around, even just me and our team, being able to have conversations with these guys and say, hey, we're all struggling here. Like, can we all just admit that we have no idea what in the world we're doing? And it just created place for honesty and to have connection. And one of our frustrations, as many of you probably had, is we couldn't do camp. I mean, a summer camp-like experience is such a staple in youth ministry, right? And it was something that we all looked at and like, man, we want to have some kind of way that we can do camp. And all of us were talking about the ways, well, we're going to do online camp, right? It was like everything was online then. Everyone's cooped up in the house. So let's just do online camp. And we realized all of these youth pastors, all these youth ministries in the same area, in the same region, are all going to be sending the links to their students saying, hey, send this to your friends so they can join in. And there's going to be students all across South Florida that are getting 15 different links from 15 different youth ministries begging them to join their online camp. And we realized like, this is just not a good look, you know, like this isn't a good look for the gospel, for the church. It's like, why don't we pose a more united front. And so the Lord just kind of infused this idea called SoFlo. SoFlo is just kind of short for South Florida. It's kind of the tagline that this became known as. We did a digital online camp experience for 1,500 students here in South Florida. And by the grace of God, I mean, there were salvations, there was connections in small groups on Zoom calls. And the Lord just did a really cool thing. Each night of this camp was hosted at a different church. So the recording
I love that.
Was at a different place. There's a movement of unity happening here in South Florida with senior pastors and now with youth pastors that I'm just blessed that I get to be a part of. So it's really cool to see the church come together and do an online, digital camp like that instead of doing everything separately. To come together as one was a really special thing.
Yeah, man. I think COVID really forced us all into a desperation where we're willing to ask those questions, and great job in leading in that direction. If people are interested in SoFlo, maybe they're watching from Florida here, how could they get connected with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have any questions or want to get connected, you can go to soflo.city is kind of our website where it has all the information about what's going on here in our network, different youth pastors here in South Florida. I believe my email is on there as well. So just soflo.city, you can check it out. And I would love to connect with you and just hear what God's doing in your regions as well. He's on the move and revival's coming, and we're excited just to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thanks for stepping up and leading. I'm sure it wasn't easy, but we're so thankful for the lives that you impacted along this, even in the middle of COVID. So great job leading. Bravo. So
Yeah, praise God.
thanks for being a part of this.
Of course.
All right, guys. There's also, I have this very strong affinity for this next group of people that are we're going to be highlighting, because this is my network, but this isn't my idea. Check out this video that my network pulled together.
This is a church building.
A church building.
The church building.
But I want us to take a moment to remember
this is not the church.
Not the church. The church is reaching out to the orphan and to the widow.
The church is supporting human rights work around the globe.
The church is showing our community who Jesus is
Through his hope
and his love. The church is you.
Is you.
Is you.
This is a church building.
This is not the church.
The presence of God started in the garden,
moved to the tabernacle and then to the temple. And now the presence of God lives in his people.
Lives in you.
In you.
In you.
This is a church building.
this is not the church.
So whether we're meeting in this building, at a coffee shop,
in a small group somewhere,
out serving in the community,
or just gathering together online,
wherever we are,
this is a church building.
We are the church.
We are the church.
We are the church.
We are the church.
That was the brainchild of a friend of mine, Chris McNaney. Welcome to National Networking Day, brother. How you doing?
I'm so good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh man, it is always an honor to walk beside people who are just pressing on and helping the kingdom work. And can you tell us a little bit about how this video, but also the other things that you did over COVID, how did that all transpire?
Yeah, we have a very similar story to what happened in SoFlo, apparently, where we were just, everyone was hit with the same, a very similar scenario, and nobody knew what to do. Nobody knew like where to go. How do we do this? We're all relearning ministry. So the church next door to us, Brian Krause, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, what are you doing this week? Because we have, Wednesday's still coming and we're not going to meet in the church, like a building, but we still need to do something." So he reached out to me and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "Hey, let's do something together." My church had just been blessed with this building project where we put up, we had a great new facility with recording equipment and live streaming equipment. It was a really great resource to have. And so
all the rest of us were trying to do all these videos on our phone.
Yeah, we were super blessed at that point. So Brian reached out and we did something together that Wednesday night. We did our first, what we ended up calling For NEPA Live for NEPA, Northeastern Pennsylvania. So we did For NEPA Live that night for the first time, and then we didn't stop. And so we gained momentum, we gained creativity, and we gained people, which was amazing. So we had, I think by the end, we were at like 10 or 13 different nonprofit organizations between, a bunch of churches, a radio station, and a Christian camp, all working together to make our midweek service happened. The idea was we're all doing these, nightly Instagram lives or Zoom nights or whatever to reach out to our individual people. But what can we do to work together on the midweek service? What can we do to pool our resources and creativity to make something great happen? So, and we did that.
Yeah. And it was really cool because a lot of churches that had volunteer youth workers that were jumping in, and they were able to, it was amazing how everybody scattered to their Zoom meeting after the gathering. And we were able to get everybody back together for a live in-person version of Fornipa Live. So all that happened because there was relationships before, though. Like we didn't sit there in the middle of COVID and start relationships. So that's a really, I would love everybody to get to know people before there's a problem, and so that when you do have questions as a community, you can start answering those questions together. So
yeah, you really need like a catalyst, I think. I always tell the story about networking. I always say, like, I started youth ministry on a Monday. My first network meeting was on a Wednesday because a guy named Wayne reached out to me before I even moved and said, hey, we got to get you plugged in. So if you're like looking around for that person, maybe you can be it to spearhead the network efforts in your community. Super important.
Yeah, if you're on this call, if you're looking around and you're wishing that there was a network, it starts with one person, a phone call, a coffee, and getting together. Because if you're feeling like you're alone, somebody else is feeling like they're alone, and they may be a volunteer. So go ahead and reach out to them and get to know their Jesus story and get to know why they are serving students. So thanks, Chris, for being here. Thanks for sharing your story a little bit. And there's also some other ways that churches and organizations were working together through COVID. And here's one from Fort Wayne, Indiana, that is really, really encouraging as well.
Right. Well, we're here today representing the Fort Wayne Police Department and the Habitat for Humanity bill. We're hoping to be out here to kind of get in the mix of things. We do a lot of community work for community relations within our department to help bridge those gaps.
We need encouragement. We need to see unity. We need to see people come together. We are divided officially, right? So how can we admit to that, confess that? How can we deal with reality? But how can we put things in place to really be united? And this is one of the best ways to do it.
Our motto is to live here and to lead here. And today we actually get to, live up to those standards as we get to inspire our kids to live and lead in the community that they're from. But what's so powerful when we all come together and build something together, like this house that we're doing for our family, our differences coming together can make a major difference. So it's not what sets us apart, but how we have different perspectives and different differences. When we come together, major things happen.
The community is in need of help, and if I can be a person that helps them, then that's a good thing. Even this is like a diverse group of people here, so I think that's a good thing. I feel like it's needed in a community for everyone to come together and not just have like a stereotype that nobody gets along.
To be a part of this unity build is special to me because I like giving back, because again, City Life and YFC have shown me so much love, and I just want to return it in any way I can. And I don't build, so this is love, okay? So that's how I feel about it.
That's what we're called to do as Christ followers. It's what we're called to do, is to put our love into action through the context of relationship, but also through the context of hard work together. This is a demonstration of the hard work that's going to take to build this community. There is real reconciliation that needs to happen. There's real work that needs to happen in this community.
Most important principle of today is really building on a foundation together. And this home that's being built behind me is a pure representation of that. I hope that every young person that is here today can simply really learn the principle of foundation.
Overall, we can learn that if we work together, great things can be accomplished. I mean, we're building a house today, so how fantastic is that? So someone in this community is going to be really blessed by this beautiful home that's being constructed by everyone in the community.
Hey, and one of the things that I've always said is that we are constantly asking questions our communities aren't asking, and we're trying to answer questions our communities aren't asking. And so I invited my friend Seth here to tell a little bit about why community collaboration is so essential. Welcome, Seth.
Thanks, Wayne. It's good to be here with you guys today. Man, why is community collaboration so essential? We at YFC, our job, obviously, we're not trying to primarily build houses. We're trying to talk to young people about Jesus. And when kids become part of our ministry and they understand who Jesus is, the question is, what are they becoming a part of? Are they becoming part of our little tribe? Are we inviting them into something divided and separated, or are we actually inviting them into a unified body of Jesus Christ? What is it that we represent in the way that we live out our faith in communities? So, Wayne, I think it's absolutely essential that we want to model for a generation of leaders the kind of prayers that Jesus prayed about us being unified as people.
And I loved in the video where the students were actually activated. And that's the thing that I absolutely love when we get youth pastors together and they get their students together. The thing is our kids already know each other. Like they go to the same schools, they walk in the same communities. And if we aren't walking arm in arm with our brothers and sisters who are also in leadership and ministry, that has a bad look for those students. And when they can work together side to side, and answer questions that communities are asking, it's so much more powerful of the gospel. It's the gospel in action instead of just talking about it.
Absolutely. And, I think so often when I think of collaboration, too often my vision for partnership is too small, right? And so I'm coming in far too often, confessional here. I'm coming into too many partnerships with what's in it for me. What I can get out of it. Or, if I can get slightly more humble and altruistic, maybe I'll say, how can we have organizational wins together, right? So how could this help my mission and your mission? But here's what we miss in that, is that because this is God's design for who we are, a partnership is truly not transactional at all. We are formed and shaped as people. We are transformed when we live into the kind of unity that God calls us to. And so it's not just about the effects that happen in the organization, the house you build, or the event that you put on. We ourselves are changed as we humbly come together and model unity in the body of Christ.
Yeah, man. Well, guys and gals that are watching, I would love for you to drop into the chat right now. What are some of the questions your communities are asking? What are they asking about teenagers? Because there are things that our communities are looking forward to us stepping up and leading in, and it might be really difficult for us to ask and answer by ourselves. It's another reason we need to collaborate. When we start talking about, man, what do we do with anxiety and depression? What do we do for our community? Here at YFC, they built a house. What things can we collaborate together? If we're trying to answer the wrong questions, we will never get to the space where we're going to see the activation that happened in this video. So, Seth, thanks so much for your leadership at YFC. Thanks for your passion for community collaboration, and thanks for joining us here on National Networking Day.
Love you, brother. Thanks.
Appreciate you, bro. We'll see you. Another friend who is part of collaboration. She was actually a part of the space in Northeast Pennsylvania, is my friend Denise Warner. And want to invite you on, Denise. Welcome. When we were talking about the stuff that happened in Northeast Pennsylvania, you tell us a little bit about why you jumped in with the For NEPA crowd.
I'm actually a volunteer. I'm actually on the worship staff at my church, but I volunteer with teens.
We still love you.
Thank you. Because I work a lot with the teens, basically with fine arts and such, with music and that kind of thing. But as a volunteer, that time that we came through and being able to come in with all of these other youth leaders, what a great pool of resources for me as a volunteer who's not, 100% of the time in this. And also I was just struck by, first of all, different ages, because I'm clearly on the upper end in the age department. But just to see all of the different abilities, humor, just having that time to come together and kind of feed off of each other. I so treasured that, because sometimes you do feel like you're spinning a wheel, but you don't know how do I do this? How do I maneuver? And I don't deal with teens on a regular basis like full-time people do. And so there are questions that come up that you go, oh man, it could be overwhelming. The continuity that we had through COVID was incredible. Just being able to have that time where we could, again, pool of resources. Somebody would bring a game, somebody would bring the word, somebody would bring worship. And it was just amazing to see how everybody's abilities just kind of meshed together. We would get on afterwards and have like the Q&A time as individual youth groups. And wow, what a blessing that was, just to have other people to say, tell me, what do you think about this? Or even now, like even after all of this, we have this fun messenger chat page, which I crack up at all the time because sometimes it gets a little silly, but you know.
I might have it muted. Because it's so ridiculous at times, but.
Well, and sometimes you need that, that humor to go, phew, I can do this. But just having that long-term benefit of us coming together, laughing, joking, encouraging, hey guys, I got this going on with this teen and youth group. Could you please just pray with me right now? And knowing that absolutely we're on it right now. So again, as a youth volunteer, not a full-time, I have loved learning and growing from everybody in this group, and so value what was brought to the table as a result of coming together for a project that we only did maybe for a short period of time, but the long-term benefits are clearly outweigh any time investment that we had to make during that time. It's amazing. God really moved in amazing ways.
We appreciate you, Denise, and you stuck around with all the shenanigans, and you add so much to our network. So thank you so much. And it looks like her internet cut out at the perfect time. So I'm gonna pull Boss back up here for a little bit, and we've seen a bunch of you guys jump in, and God's been doing some amazing things through people on this call. And just like we just heard, though, there might be somebody that's a volunteer out there that they need to reach out to, that we need to reach out to. Send a text, give a call, because networks are really valuable to volunteers.
Yeah, absolutely. Volunteers are the real MVPs. They're the ones that without volunteers, ministry doesn't happen the way that it could and the way it should happen. And so we just applaud anyone that's volunteering all the time. We wanted to kind of shout out a few things that have been happening around the country. What's really cool about our role with NNYM is that we get to see a lot of different ministry happening all the way across the country. And a lot of times, even for myself, we get so focused on the the metaphorical tree that's right in front of us, then we don't realize how big the forest is. And one of the things that I remember that happened earlier this year was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's a guy named Dusty Brassler that we're connected with. He serves on our team, but he's also a local youth guy as well. He and 7 other churches, they came together. They brought their young adults together, really, but from the urging of their young adults that said, hey, we've got to come together, because this year, 2021, was the 100th year of the Tulsa Massacre. And in their community, they wanted to do something. They wanted to commemorate it. So Dusty and a lot of other youth leaders came together, city leaders came together, and they put on a big commemoration, celebration, memorial, all these different things, and brought the community together, which I thought was so cool. And it made an impact. It made an impact, and something that has made an impact on their community and transformed their community. They went and took notice of it. They didn't brush it aside, and they leaned into it, which was really cool.
Yeah. So networking isn't just for the fun. It's not just for the big events. There are spaces where it is, it's a holy experience, and you have the ability to commemorate, to lean into things, to work together. And so networking isn't just something that you do that's going to pad the numbers or it's going to make things look good. It's not a multi-level marketing scheme, guys. It's actually something that we can do to minister and be the presence of Christ in our community. So great job, Dusty. Saw Zach Wyatt on here, man. Zach's crushing it down in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So with the Youth Leader Collective, great job out there, man. And then Steve Cullum, everybody knows Steve Cullum in Colorado. So guys, keep up the good work. We love what you guys are doing. My buddy Todd Parridge texted me here too. So many friends who we've done ministry next to, and that working together ends up becoming friendship. And so thanks so much, boss. At the after party, you're going to be welcoming people into the after party on Zoom, correct?
For sure. Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be hanging out. We're one of the main reasons why we want to hang out afterwards is to help people connect with people that are in their region so that they can start to build community with each other and really serve their communities for the felt needs that are happening near them.
Yeah. We realized that in the middle of COVID that local networks are really, really important because each community handled COVID response a lot different. So,
Yep.
And it brought different things. So we want to break you down into regions. So if you haven't registered, go ahead and register. Another thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about the need to network in different spaces. And there are networks that are going on all the way across the country who are doing some amazing things, and they're very specific. And so I want to invite my friend Tommy Nixon here. Tommy, welcome to National Networking Day. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, brother. Great to be here, man. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, man. It's great to have you. Tell us a little bit about how you guys are networking people, and what's your focus as you've been networking people?
Sure. So I'm the CEO of Urban Youth Workers Institute, and during the pandemic, we just realized we had a plan to start setting up networks, and we learned a lot from you guys. And I had connected with you guys before that, just to learn and see how the great job you guys were doing. But the pandemic hit, and we just felt like, man, we need to make sure in the urban space and context that our people are getting together. And so we actually during pandemic launched 10 different networks across the country. Some of them are already existing, so we're not here to plant flags. I don't care what you call it. I don't care if you're flying the UIWI flag. It's just we wanted to support them. And so the beautiful thing is that the collaboration when you talk about networks, we call them fuel networks, and we partner 100% with DeVos Urban Leadership Initiative, or DeVuli. And so we actually own that program together, and we're collaborating to support those 10 networks and then to grow those in 22. And so that was really the response out of it, that our networks and our groups of leaders, especially not having a national conference for 2 years, people felt like I feel alone. And I feel like more than most urban leaders feel like, I think I'm the only one. And I'm going, no, there's like an army of people out here that totally get your context. You don't have to explain things. We get it. And so we wanted to connect that way. So that's what we did.
And I'm the exact same way. I'm like, I don't care what you call the network. I don't care who you're running under. I want you to get together, refuel one another. I love the fuel idea. Where are those 10 networks, and are they open for people to get involved with, or do they have to apply? How's that all work for you guys?
No, absolutely. So the 10 networks, I'll see if I can get this right. They're in, we have 10 of them, but we have LA, Long Beach. So I know it's close here, but then we have Milwaukee, Houston, Phoenix, Columbus, Cleveland, DC, Jamaica, Queens, and Jersey City, New Jersey. So and then we're looking at some others next year to continue to do. But so that's where they're at. People are welcome to join in with it. One of the distinctives for us, though, is we have a plan. Like there's a structure for each of our networks, and so it's kind of gather and connect, which that most networks that's what you do. The next one is carry and care, and then the third area where we want everybody to get to is create and collaborate. And each part of that kind of framework has an internal and an external expression. So internally, yeah, get together with just the youth workers and then care for, you know, your personal thing. Like, how are you doing personally? And then create and collaborate, like, hey, what can we do together? But then there's an outside component too. Like, how do you gather and connect the community? How do you, you know, carry and care what the community is carrying, right? If there's a police shooting, or if there's a you know, a murder, or if there's a, you know, something going on in the community, like, how do you carry that?
Right.
And then on the create and collaborate, how do you actually, can we come together and do something that affects the larger community or city? That's such a testimony to, you know, for the church, for the gospel, for Christ, but it's also a huge testimony for these young people, because I think when they
don't see people working together.
Right. When they, you know, the video showed, when they start saying like, oh, look at like the church, the police, the community, you know, all these different things, they came together to do something. That's actually a huge evangelistic move for this next generation, because they're basically kind of like, yeah, I think you guys are full of crap. And I don't, how does what you say you believe actually affect my everyday? And what's incredible to me is the gospel is so relevant to that. We just need to continue to show that and push that out there. So that's so yes, please join in with us. I think I have it right here for you guys, but I put it in there. But fuelnetworkpartners.org. Our man that runs all that is Will Cumby. A lot of you guys know Will Cumby. He works with all of you, and all, like he's everywhere. So
he was on our podcast. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's a stud. So, but he's the guy to connect to make sure we connect you with the networks around there. So fuelnetworkpartners.org.
Awesome.
We'd love for you to connect with you guys.
Hey man, I love you guys. I appreciate everything you did, that you've been doing. A few years ago, I don't even know if I told you, a few years ago, our community, our city was asking about, you know, how do we do something in the city? And I didn't know what to do. I was a campus ministry guy, and I went to all the UIWI trainings that possibly could, soaked it all up, and we were able to launch a youth network, or a youth center because of that. So thank you guys for the specific resourcing that you guys are doing. If you guys are in one of those 10 cities, don't start a network. Go visit these guys and see what's going on, and get plugged in, because you're not alone. So thanks so much, Tommy. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for all you do, man.
All right, man. We'll see you later. There's also other specific networks that are out there that are really focused. So I want to invite Jason Lamb on here. Jason has he's part of Dare to Share Live, or Dare to Share, and they've got an event coming up here in November, Dare to Share Live. But that was just the beginning of stuff for you guys, wasn't it, man?
Oh man, yeah, Dare to Share Live, an amazing event. But I want to actually, if I can, I want to talk about framing that in the idea of networks. And so, Wayne, thank you for allowing us to participate. I've been encouraged by what I'm hearing from other speakers. Excited, even as Tommy was sharing here, about so many things that are similar between our network strategies. And so, I sense and believe God is doing something within His church. There's a call to do this together with intentionality and with purpose. And so, at Dare to Share Ministries, our vision is every teen everywhere hearing the gospel from a friend. And as you let the weight of that statement sink in, I want you to realize there are 1 billion with a B, 1 billion teenagers around the world that we believe God has a heart for and wants them to hear the gospel from a friend. The best person to reach a teenager is another teenager. So we've got to be mobilizing our believing students to be on mission to reach their friends with the gospel. So 1 billion teenagers around the world. Here in the United States, there's almost 30 million teenagers just in our own country. All of these numbers are massive. And I would just encourage you, within your community or your network, how many teenagers are in your local community? My local church, I go to Storyline Church in Arvada, Colorado. We identified there are 14,000 middle school and high school students in our community. 14,000 is more palatable than 30 million or 1 billion, but we as a church can't do that by ourselves. We in our student ministry cannot reach 14,000 students by ourselves. So we have to work together. So there's our opportunity. So let me present you with a challenge. One, we believe that it requires intentionality to want to be on mission and reach the teens in your community. So at Dare to Share, we're looking for what we would call a gospel advancing leader. And that is simply somebody who's sharing the gospel personally and mobilizing students to do the same. So you can be a full-time paid youth leader. You can be a volunteer youth leader like 70% of the youth leaders in America are.
That's it. Yep.
If you're sharing the gospel personally and mobilizing teens to do the same, you are a gospel advancing leader. And then what we want to see is these gospel advancing leaders working together in their communities in a gospel advancing network. So adults sharing the gospel personally, but mobilizing teens from multiple churches to reach a campus, to reach a community, intentionality to reach the gospel. And we provide a framework, and we've got a resource we can share later, but a framework of what does a gospel advancing network do? And each of our networks do these things differently, but these are the elements that help us stay focused on the mission and the vision at hand to reach the teens in our community. We meet together regularly to encourage each other in Christ and his God. When we're encouraging each other, it's in our faith and in our faith journey to live on mission together to reach the lost. We pray for each other, and our teens and the lost teens in our community, our prayers are focused on the mission at hand. We share stories and testimonies since the last time we've met in the last month. How have I shared the gospel personally? How have I mobilized my students in my youth ministry to share the gospel? Because we need to celebrate how we're living the mission out. We learn together about gospel advancing philosophy and best practices with each other. So we're constantly in the state of learning, but learning from each other and learning specifically how we can accomplish this mission of reaching teens together. We dream together how to reach as many teens as possible. When's the last time you were in a network meeting and you just gave space to answer the question, what's it going to take to reach the 14,000 teenagers in our community? What's it going to take to reach 1,400 teenagers in our community, right?
And when you start asking those questions, it gets very difficult, like to push. So I love the fact that you guys have resources that you can help drive that conversation.
Absolutely. And to that point, Wayne, then when we answer that question, we by default begin answering the right questions our community's asking because we're bringing a gospel response. And finally, we do great things together to inspire, enable, and unleash teens to reach our community. And so as Wayne mentioned, Dare to Share Live, November 13th this year. It's a one-day simulcast event in real time, whether you're East Coast, Pacific. We're all doing it at the same time. It's free, but we're giving you an opportunity for your students to be inspired, equipped, and sent out on outreach in your community as part of the event. And so by hosting this event as a network, getting multiple churches together, we'll provide the training and the fuel. You simply have to provide the opportunity for 2 hours that afternoon to go on outreach in your community. But it's time we start doing what we say we are about and reach every teen everywhere with the gospel from a friend in our community, so that collectively in our community, in our country, and around the world, we will see a day, I believe, that God has appeased that vision. And we'll see a day that every teen everywhere has heard the gospel from a friend. So love you guys. Keep networking, network with purpose and mission. Love you, Wayne. Thank you so much, NNYM.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for the networks that you guys are doing. When I hear people go, oh, did you know that these guys are doing networks? I'm like, great, go for it. And love what you guys are doing. Keep up the good work at Dare to Share. And thanks for being a part of National Networking Day, brother.
Yeah.
All right, man. So we also want you to think about another space of networking. There are spaces all around the country that need people to network around them. And I'm going to invite a friend, Eugene, on, and he's going to talk about the different space of networking that he kind of champions nationally. So Eugene, can you just tell us a little bit about what you guys do and how your networks run?
Sure, Wayne. Thanks so much for having us. And it's great to hear other folks doing networking across the U.S. I'm here representing every youth, every facility. We're a coalition of about 50 ministries across the U.S., including National Network and Urban Youth Workers Initiative and many others. We're coming together to share the gospel with every young person in every juvenile detention facility in the U.S. When there's over 1 million young people who are arrested every year, about 500,000 of them actually go to juvenile detention facilities, and only about a third of those young people have an opportunity to hear the gospel. So we're excited. We realize that no one ministry or 10 ministries working together can't reach every young person in all those facilities. So we're excited to partner with National Network and many other organizations. And I love what the brother said before me, to reach every teen everywhere. Well, there's 500,000 young people who come through the juvenile justice system every year that are desperate and are looking.
yeah, they're definitely looking for an opportunity to hear the gospel. So we get you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me, Wayne?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah,
So,
so we want
lost them. So every facility has a website that it's everyyouth.org, and everyyouth.org. It's in our Facebook chat, but you don't know that there is a facility near you that you could network around. They have pulled together a list of juvenile detention facilities. And so we talk about reaching the campus, we talk about reaching our communities, and sometimes one of the most places that are asking for help could be a facility that's near you. So go to everyyouth.org, check out, maybe there's a facility, a juvenile detention facility near you that you could lean into and that you could network around. I'm going to invite another friend of mine. He actually has a little bit of an international connection, but he is in charge of Alpha Youth here in the United States, man. Jordan, it's great to see you, brother. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with Alpha and how you fit in with this whole networking thing?
Yeah, for sure. Well, so a lot of people don't know this, but we actually have a bunch of network directors on the ground already, probably right next to you. And so networking is just part of what we do, because the reality is globally for youth ministry, we've entered into the rebuild. We knew it kind of didn't work before, and now we definitely know it doesn't work. So we're entering into the rebuild, and it's really way better to rebuild together than it is on your own turf. So we've been doing networks for a long time. And I actually sent you, Wayne, the link for all the different network directors we have across the country. So
awesome.
But yeah, I think connecting with each other and trying to rebuild together is probably one of the best things that we could do right now, especially as we kind of reimagine what it is for Gen Z. But I will tell you from Alpha side, not everyone knows what Alpha is. We're just an organization that equips and serves the church on its mission to help young people discover and develop a relationship with Jesus. But we are seeing more than ever Gen Z become the priority. And globally, we're saying Alpha, Gen Z now is the priority. So now's the time, guys, lean in. So please. And honestly, here's the other thing too for Alpha, guys. Alpha Youth is quite young. And so we're still waiting to see the innovation that could happen from the church, because the church could innovate the best for us and lead the way forward for everybody else. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to throw out to you guys. And then we did just do a study. Wayne, I don't know if that's what you want to chat about too. I'm not sure. You go, man. I'll give you the space.
Yeah, man. No, I was just going to say, I was going to interrupt you and say, yeah, we actually in our area have a couple of our churches have gotten together and are running Alpha Youth ourselves because of the interaction that it's forcing with students. It just has natural built-in connection time. And through COVID, a lot of those kids disconnected and don't know how to build relationships, and Alpha Youth film series is beautifully built for that, to force interaction and have gospel-centered conversations. So thanks for your work on that. Jordan tipped his hat a little bit. For those of you who are registered, you'll actually be able to get a copy of the new research that Alpha did in partnership with Barna, correct?
Yeah, well, I should say not the full copy. I can't give you the full copy. I mean, I can ask, but we do have. I'll ask if we can get the full copy. But we do have these executive summaries to highlight the top findings that we found out.
We're youth pastors. We only read the bold, anyways, man. That's fine.
Yeah, I know, for real. I'm trying to help a youth pastor out.
That's right.
The idea though is we actually did the study among Gen Z, 13 to 18-year-olds right now. I know it's bigger than that. About evangelism on their terms, what they want. What do they want to participate in? And it's actually a really encouraging study. And so we found out there's lots of things but they are having lots of faith conversations. They do want to lean in and have these deep, heartfelt conversations. So you are going to get that. I'll send it to Wayne. Wayne will send it out to you guys. And there's no strings attached. So
yeah, so for those of you who have registered, I'll send that out in an email. Thanks so much, Jordan, for being here. Thanks for letting us know there might be an Alpha network, and I'll drop those links in the emails too, so people can get connected if there is one in their backyard. So
perfect.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
All right, and also have a friend who has just been doing the online ministry, online cohorts, and you might know him. His name is Zach Workrun, and thank you so much for being here, brother.
Wayne, good to see you, friend. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How could it be any better? I'm getting people together. I'm connecting people. That's what I do. I in the body of Christ, I say that National Network of Youth Ministries is the tendons. Like, nobody ever walks up to a bodybuilder and goes, "Bro, you have awesome tendons." But without the tendons, the body couldn't
right
be
off.
amazing.
That's right. Well, at Planet Fitness, where I go and drink, iced coffee, there's just a lot of tendons. That's about it. So.
Dude, in COVID, I saw you guys just crank it up, and you guys are doing a phenomenal job with the networking. Thanks so much for the ministry that you guys are doing. And can you just tell everybody a little bit about Booster, what's going on, and how to get connected?
Yeah, so for us, Youth Ministry Booster is a place to get matched to a mastermind online of youth ministry peers in a similar availability, context, and experience. So that's one of the things that we want to offer. We know that being connected, that's the shared heart that we have with everybody else that's been on the panel today, is that being connected in ministry is really important. And one of the things that we want to offer is to make it really accessible. And so I have a whole entire online platform designed for our members to get on and get access to resources, direction, leadership, but to be matched to a specific mastermind of like-minded ministers. So some of my favorite groups that we have, and over the 60 groups that are meeting this year, is we've got multiple groups that are youth ministers that have been doing it for less than 2 years. We've got groups of those that are leading in rural churches. So whether it's rural Arkansas or rural Alabama or rural Florida, which I guess is a thing that I didn't know, they're matched and connected together. Or if they're serving in, certain suburb sized questions, or they've been serving for 15, 20 years, there are things that we can help match and do to guide them along the way. And one of the things that we love most for connecting our leaders together is that every group that meets is both given a guide every month for fresh conversation, content, and growth, and then a host. We have volunteers inside of our ministry that are mentoring, shepherding, and hosting really great network meetings that emphasize growth, collaboration, and soul care. One of the things that's become a calling card for us is that youth ministers don't ask each other enough how they're doing. And so a big piece of what we do every month is to create space not only for how we can learn about how to lead and expand our capacity to collaborate and grow, but how you're doing. And I think that's one of the things before this call is over. If you haven't connected with someone, to just ask them how they're doing. We have learned in the last year that all of us are not okay. And just saying not okay and leaving it there is not okay. And so, Wayne, again, we love that we get to connect with folk all across the country, but for us, the power is connecting people, matching them to a group that's best fit, because then you're off and running with like-minded ministers that understand your context without being in your context.
Yeah, totally, man. I appreciate the pastoral heart you guys have. And I love the fact that you guys were accessible to so many people because you have been the Booster online platform.
Yes,
but you guys have also, you said that you've added the geotagging in with your networks as well, right?
So one of the things that you can do if you're now a member is that you can see who's near you. So yeah, you may be in a mastermind with some folks across the country, but it's really easy to hop on our platform and see who are the members that are near you, who's online now. Again, part of membership for us is access to the whole platform of connectivity and content and connection, man. And so again, we love getting to equip, resource, and encourage youth pastors. So whether you're brand new to the thing or you've been doing it for a long time, we'd love to connect with you. And so one thing I'll say and share with the audience today, Wayne, we just reopened sign up for the audience today. It'll be open till Monday, and then we're going to close it down until next spring, just because we know for a lot of folks, maybe they heard about it or curious about it, but part of those masterminds is they are kind of a closed small group that meet together for a whole year before we shuffle it all back up next year. So if folks were curious or interested, check it out throughout the weekend and get in before the getting's good. So yeah, man.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys. I love the fact that you are shepherding people and all the stuff that you guys do to really minister and serve the body of Christ. So appreciate you. Thanks so much for what you're doing. And also nnym.org/resources. You can find out more information about all these guys that have been on here. And so thanks for being on here.
Thanks, Wayne. Thanks for what you guys do. Yep.
Yeah, man. So for those of you who are not familiar, National Network of Youth Ministries, our staff around the country, we are self-supported missionaries. We are missionaries to help youth pastors, and it's not as easy to raise funds for as you would think, but we believe in the unity of the body of Christ at such a level that we will go and try to raise support, raise funds, so that we can ask the questions like Zach is talking about. How you doing? And the other component to what we do is we love connecting the body of Christ. We don't see any of these other networking organizations as some sort of a threat or competition. There's so much need out there right now that we desperately need to show a John 17 type of unity where we're walking together. And so we wanted to throw National Networking Day. There are so many other organizations that we could highlight, but this is just a little bit of a sample. If you're sitting there feeling like you don't know what's going on in ministry, that you would love to get connected, I want you to just check out some of these organizations. If you're like, yo, you didn't mention my favorite networking organization. I have a coach, I have a mentor. Drop them in the chat right here. Let us know. I might not know about them. The beautiful thing about National Networking Day is that maybe you can teach me about an organization or somebody that is out there that just needs to be made famous. I joke around and I say, National Network of Youth Ministries, we don't own networks. We're just here to make them famous. And so if you're gathering youth workers together, let us know. If you've got tips, if you got ideas on some great ways to do that, let us know. If you're caring for people who are in a space where they need a little bit of extra shepherding, I see youth leader Oasis is here. Let us know. We'd love to help you guys minister to other youth workers, because youth ministry is tough, but you got to know that you're not alone. Guys, those of you who have registered, I want to invite you to the after party that we're going on right after this. It'll be short. We're just going to try to connect you guys into regional groups. Sometimes you can hear about somebody, but you actually have never met them in person. We would love to introduce you to regional collections of people who are doing the same thing as you. They have a passion for connecting the body of Christ. And so thanks so much for being a part of National Networking Day. You can check out more resources at nnym.org/resources. There you can find some of the info that we were talking about today. Also, if you registered, I will send you an email with the resources that we talked about today. And if you don't want those emails, just tell me, don't email me ever again. You can't offend me. I've been working with junior hires my entire life. So guys, thanks so much for everything, your attention here today. And thanks so much for being a part of National Network of Youth Ministries. Go ahead and register if you're not a part of a network. And if you need help launching a network, we've got help for that too. So guys, appreciate your time here. Thanks for making Network Day a success. And I will see you in a few minutes over on the after party Zoom. See ya.